Hello everyone, welcome to Lukman IS. Today we are going to have the Hindu analysis of 6th April 2021. So let us see which are the important articles in today's The Hindu newspaper. Yes, these are the important articles. Let us take overview of these articles for mains related and for prelims related preparation here. So first article, the pillars of an equitable post-COVID India. So yes, inclusive economic growth and development, which is part of GS3 paper economy, as well as there are many times such essay topics appearing in the essay paper regarding inclusive economic growth. Okay, so from that perspective this article is written and the author is very much providing good inputs here for what measures should be taken by the government for ensuring such sustainable inclusive economic growth in post-COVID India. Okay, so from economy and essay perspective, we are going to take input here. Second, free and unhindered justice. So the article on page number 7, op-ed page, it is discussing about a proposal of having circuit benches. At the same time, it is talking about how the virtual meetings and those hearings of the Supreme Court have ensured the free and fair or equal access to Supreme Court to all those people living in different corners of the country, different areas of the country. Okay, so from that GS2 paper polity part, we have to understand and take input here. Next, persistent mindlessness. So on page number 6, editorial page, the article is having context of recent attack on security personnel by Maoist in Sukma district of Chhattisgarh. Okay, so yes, once again the article is analyzing the Naxalism issue, and yes, the way forward also provided here in this article. Next, for prelims related articles, Supreme Court frowns on interim heads of CBI, Central Bureau of Investigation. So yes, now from polity part, the basics about CBI, how it was established, how the director of CBI is appointed, selected by different selection and appointment committee, basics about CBI and some issues that are going on in contemporary times. Okay, yes. Next is railways complete arch closure on Chenab Bridge. So yes, from miscellaneous part, some basic, or we can say the additional information, general information that you should have here. The world's highest bridge is being built across Chenab River. So that information we will take from prelims perspective. Yes, let us go into details of all these articles, but before going into details, let me tell you what happens many times is students are not following all these lectures on day-to-day basis, and that's why they are not having the link between the previous issues that we have discussed in the earlier lectures. And yes, that's why let me tell you that you try to follow these lectures for 1 week or 2 weeks and then try to understand how much input you are getting from these lectures. Okay, this is very much important. The continuity in the Hindu analysis or reading this newspaper, understanding and taking input is very important. Okay, now let us go into details of these articles one by one. First, the pillars of an equitable post-COVID India. Yes. So the context of the article here is that the growing inequality in Indian society because of COVID-19 pandemic, this has been highlighted by various reports, and that's why the writer here in this article is providing 3-point plan, action plan for the government, so as to reduce this inequality and ensure the inclusive and sustainable economic growth in post-COVID India. Okay, so yes, some factual information here we can take input, that is some of the reports. One Pew Research report recently released, it has said that almost India's middle class or those people in the middle class have reduced and the number of people living in the poverty has increased. Okay, you can mention, give reference of Pew Research report. Second, you can give the reference, or we can say you can give the argument that big corporate companies have been able to cope up with this COVID-19 pandemic shock, economic shock. However, MSMEs or those companies or firms working in informal sector they have not been able to absorb this shock, and therefore they are impacted more. Those workers working in informal sectors, they are losing more jobs because of this COVID-19 pandemic, right? So you can mention, give references to all these reports. Even World Bank, IMF reports in recent times, they have said that the poverty and unemployment because of COVID-19 has increased throughout the world, including India. Okay, now the writer is providing the action plan. Action plan, 3-point action plan. Okay, so first and foremost it is talking about is creation of quality or productive employment. This is the first. Second, creating equality of opportunity by improving human development. Second aspect or third part of this plan, providing quasi-universal basic income and other safety nets. Three important action plans or actions that the government should focus here. Let us go into details of all this. First, yes, creation of quality or productive employment. How the government can do this? By investing, increase in investment in infrastructure. Okay, yes, the present government is working on this stance, or we can say this particular aspect very well. The government is focusing on more and more investment in infrastructure. Automatically it will have spillover effect on different sectors. It will generate more and more employment. If we take the example of construction sector, right? So more and more investment in construction sector, large projects undertaken by the government in public sector, PPP projects, surely it will result into more productive employment. Along with that, second aspect, creating equality of opportunity by improving human development. Okay, so that means the investment in health sector and education sector, the two important aspects of human development along with skill development. So we can say that health, education and skill development, these are three pillars of human development. Okay, now these are important aspects of redistribution of wealth in the society. It promotes equality of opportunity, as we can understand that those who are the weaker sections of society, or those do not have access to health, access to quality education, or do not have that skills, surely they do not have that many opportunities of employment and having the better standard of life in the society. And therefore, to ensure that, the government should focus on investing more in health, ensuring quality health access, quality education access, and then the skill development programs. Okay, and ultimately there will be a good man force available for the economic sector or economic growth. Okay, so human resource that we are talking here, that can be built through this human development aspects. Next, lastly, it is talking about providing quasi-universal basic income and other safety nets, especially for weaker sections of society. It is talking that quasi-universal basic income should be there and safety net should be there, so that these sections of society are able to absorb such kind of economic shocks created by pandemics or any other reason in future. Okay, so this is very important aspects, and yes, in this direction the writer is providing three important way forwards, or we can say measures: quasi-universal basic income and other safety nets. First, here it is talking about that those women above 20 years of age, they should be provided certain basic universal income kind of thing, or there should be cash transfers available to those women above 20 years of age. Surely, whenever there is a loss of income, because we have seen that in last 1 year, more women have lost job as compared to men. This is one of the survey, a result, or we can say that data from one of the survey. And yes, this shows that the women are weaker sections of society, more impacted by such kind of economic shocks created by pandemics. Second aspect here, we should understand that the number of days under MG Narega scheme should be increased. Okay, so MG Narega scheme, the number of days at present there are 100 days, they should be increased so that it will create a safety net, or we can say that it will ensure the we can say livelihood to those poor and weaker sections of society, especially the landless rural laborers that we are talking here. And thirdly, there should be similar employment guarantee scheme in urban area. Now this has been proposed for a long time now. Government may come up with a new scheme here, that such kind of scheme on the similar lines of MG Narega scheme that is there in rural areas, there should be in urban areas also for those poor people living in urban areas. Surely it will ensure the livelihood by having work for payment or salary. Okay, so these 3 points you can mention here along with other safety nets for, we can say that, old age people. Along with that, some small saving schemes are there. So these safety nets are important. Okay, now you have understood 3-step plan. Along with that, there are some additional measures that you should mention here whenever there is question about inclusive sustainable economic growth. And which are these additional measures? Yes, increasing farmers' income, that too small and marginal farmers. This is very important aspect of having inclusive growth, because the farmers, especially smaller and medium marginal farmers, which constitutes more than 80% of the farming community in India, their welfare is important, and we can say that inclusive development, inclusive growth without them is not possible. Then enhancing tax and non-tax revenue of the government, this is very important. Why? Because whatever the investment that government is going to do, the funding for here, we can say health and education sector, funding for infrastructure development, that can be well done when we have, or the government has, more and more revenue. So enhancing tax and non-tax revenue, the rich people are supposed to pay more taxes here, and especially when conditions are, we can say, created by pandemic here. Next, inequalities between center and state in finances should be also reduced. At present, there is huge gap between the resource availability of the central government and state governments, and we can say that the state governments are having more responsibility of providing the health and education to people, and they are having less resources. This is how we have to understand, and this inequality should be reduced here. Along with that, non-economic factors such as deepening democracy and decentralization can help in reducing inequalities. Right? Yes. So ensuring political democracy. So democracy at grassroots level, deepening democracy and decentralization, that means those local self-governments, PRIs and municipal corporations, they should be provided with enough amount of 3 Fs, funds, functions and functionaries. And this is very important aspect, so as to ensure reduction in inequalities and having inclusive sustainable economic growth in the country, especially when we talk about post-COVID India. Okay, yes. Now what kind of question we can expect here or attempt through this, taking input from this article? In post-COVID-19 world, addressing inequality is important for higher and sustainable economic growth and the well-being of the population. There can be a comment, type of comment, or in this regard suggest measures to ensure inclusive economic growth in India, especially post-COVID world, or not world, we can say post-COVID India. Okay, yes. So from GS3 paper economy part, and that we can say that essay paper also we can take input here. Next, free and unhindered justice. So basically here the context of the article is that In last 1 year, during pandemic times, the Supreme Court has come up with the virtual hearing method. Earlier there was no such virtual hearing, and this virtual hearing has come up in the aid of those people which did not have access to the Supreme Court now, or the areas of India far away from Delhi. Okay, so they are having equal access now to the Supreme Court. Now this is the significance of last 1 year, we can say, virtual hearing that Supreme Court is conducting. So the article is having this context of ensuring free and fair and equal access to Supreme Court. Okay, so fair and equal, basically it is context of two things. One is people, that means rich and poor people, they should be having equal access. Second, the area wise geographically, that means those areas near Delhi or those areas away from Delhi, okay, far away from Delhi, they should be also having equal access. Okay. So yes, view of the framers of the constitution, let us go to the basics of this or background here. Surely the framers or forefathers of India, they viewed that there will be more and more litigation before Supreme Court in future when we talk about the nature of Indian judiciary, integrated judiciary that we have, and Supreme Court being the ultimate appellate court that we have, and therefore there will be more and more litigation in the Supreme Court, and it will require in future that the access to Supreme Court should be increased through various seats of Supreme Court. And therefore they provided in Indian constitution itself that the Chief Justice of India in future may establish such circuit benches or circuit seats of Supreme Court in different parts of India if he deems feasible, okay, or required. So this was the view of framers of constitution. Then high number of cases filed in Supreme Court originated in high courts closer to Delhi. Now Center for Political Research, one of the report of this Center for Policy Research, sorry. So this particular non-profit organization or NGO that works in this direction and policy analysis and inputs, in one of the report has said that those high courts closer to Delhi like Haryana, Punjab and Haryana, or we can say that the Rajasthan High Court, those high courts which are near to Delhi, they have more number of litigations from these high courts in Supreme Court as compared to those away. Like for example, if we are talking about the facts here, yes, Bihar, West Bengal and Andhra Pradesh, they together contributed for only 10% of litigation, while the population of these three together is more than 20%, 1/5 of the country. Okay, and as compared to this, if we are talking about the cases originating from Punjab and Haryana, so their population is less than 5% and their cases contributing here are about 18%. This is how the skewed nature, there is disproportionately high cases originating from those nearby states of Delhi, and those states away from Delhi, they do not have that much litigation in Supreme Court because of, we can say that the distance, okay, the people are not having this fair and equal access to Supreme Court, those living away from Delhi. Along with that, Supreme Court had become the domain of select few lawyers in and around Delhi. Now because of this situation, before last 1 year when there was no virtual hearing, so people coming to Delhi, so they had to opt for those lawyers living in and around Delhi for that litigation in Supreme Court, okay, because those lawyers living in different parts of the country could not make them available in Delhi for litigation purpose. Okay, now what happened is, because of virtual hearing, this has opened doors of Supreme Court to advocates from all over India. This is good thing, and this ensures the fair and equal access to Supreme Court now. Along with that, yes, earlier also many such parliamentary committees and law commission has also recommended that there should be establishment of circuit benches in different parts of the country, especially in Chennai and Mumbai and Kolkata. There are proposals to establish circuit benches so as to have the equal and fair access to Supreme Court by different people living in different parts of the country. Now, a very good statement, let me read that to you. It is only when each person in India is provided unhindered access to its corridor can the Supreme Court be said to have fulfilled its constitutional promise. Okay, so you can use this as conclusion statement. Now, what kind of question we can expect here? Examine the proposal of establishing circuit benches of Supreme Court in different parts of India. Okay, so yes, there can be question because it has been recommended by Law Commission also and Parliamentary Committee also. Now, why the subsequent Chief Justices of India have not adopted this recommendations of different committees and Law Commission? You have to provide those arguments also. Because what happens is the value of the seat in Delhi, it may reduce because of such circuit benches in different parts of the country. There can be the question of authority being, we can say, diluted. So, all these issues are involved when we provide arguments against here, and in we can say favor, you can provide these arguments. We talked about fair and equal access to people, fair and access to people living in different corners of the country. This is very important. Okay. At the same time, we have one of the DPSP in Article 39A. So, fair and equitable access to justice, it is very important. We can say part of our DPSP is also. Preamble, one of the objective is there, justice, economic, political, social also. Fine. Okay. So, polity paper, GS2, you can take input here. Persistent mindlessness. So, internal security GS3 paper. Yes, before going into this article, you need to refer to the Hindu analysis of 4th April. So, day before yesterday to 2021 to understand the basics about the Naxalism issue, or we can say Maoism, left-wing extremism, which is part of our syllabus in GS3 paper. So, the causing factors, determinants of rise of Naxalism in some of the eastern states of India, and yes, the way forward, the Samadhan strategy that the government of India adopts, what should be the strategy of civil administration, what should be the strategy of security forces, all has been discussed in detail in that particular lecture. Now, this article is having specific context of page number 6 article on editorial page. So, this particular ambush which resulted into deaths of more than 20 security personnel, basically security personnel were having the combing operations in the Bastar region here of Chhattisgarh, and during that the ambush happened. Okay. Now, we have to understand that yes, this militant movement of Naxalism is now remaining a mindless guerrilla driven movement, and they are focusing more on garnering the support by such violent acts, and ultimately there will be repression by the government, and because of that ultimately again the new supporters will be there from those tribal areas. Okay. Now, you need to understand that the major cause of having this Naxalism spreading in that region particularly is that there are some geographical factors, there are some administrative or governance deficit factors also. Geographical, you need to understand that difficult terrain. Okay. So, difficult terrain and dense forests are there, it makes them difficult for building the infrastructure projects like roads, bridges and power lines. Okay. So, this is one aspect. Second aspect is that it is more spread over the tri-junction areas of different states, like one tri-junction is Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, other tri-junction is Chhattisgarh, Odisha and Andhra Pradesh. this Dandakaranya forest or Bastar region. This is that region, and these Naxalists, they do some of the crime or all these things in one state and they immediately take refuge in other states. So that becomes the problem between the coordination and cooperation of police establishment of these different states. Second next aspect you need to understand is that these areas are untouched by welfare or discontents due to state repression. So there are human rights violation, there is development deficit, there is governance deficit in these areas. The people are having anti-government sentiments in those regions. Civil administration is lacking its presence in these areas. So this is the important aspect, and because of this deficit, this vacuum that is created in this region, the Naxalites are exploiting these regions on the basis of this vacuum. Okay. Now, at the same time, the Chhattisgarh government's inability to reach out those living in those Maoist strongholds, this is also one of the hurdle becoming problem in tackling with Naxalism in that region. Ultimately, the civil society is arguing that there should be dialogue between Maoist and Chhattisgarh government to end this violence, which has claimed almost more than 10,000 lives since 2000. Okay, so this is how we have to understand this internal security challenge that we have before the country. This can be tackled only with the civil administration or the infrastructure creation in that region. Basic amenities is to be provided. At the same time, the security should be there to deal with these armed rebellions. Okay, so surely the civil society, activists, though they urge for dialogue, the government is having stand that there cannot be dialogue until and unless these rebellions, Maoists, put down the arms. Okay, so this is how you need to take input for GS3 paper, internal security part. Do refer to this 4th April The Hindu analysis for basics of this issue for GS3 paper. Okay, now moving on to next article. Supreme Court frowns on interim heads for CBI. So yes, one of the non-governmental organization has filed petition in Supreme Court about the continuance of being appointed as interim appointments to the post of CBI director. Okay, now Supreme Court has told the government that such interim appointments to the post of CBI director cannot go on. At the same time, the such interim appointment is not provided in the statutory scheme of 1946 Act. Delhi Police Establishment Act is there, and under which this CBI derives powers. Okay, so basics about the CBI you need to know for prelims part here. Yes, this was established through the recommendation of Santanam Committee on Prevention of Corruption. It recommended establishment of CBI, and such CBI was established not through a statutory as a statutory body, rather through executive resolution of Home Affairs, Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay, that means it is not a statutory body. You need to know this. It derives its powers through Delhi Special Police Establishment Act 1946. This CBI was earlier established in 1941 by British government to inquire into the corruptions, or we can say instances of corruption during the Second World War in India. Okay, so later on it was established under Home Ministry, and now it operates under Ministry of Personnel. Okay, it operates under Ministry of Personnel at present. Supervision of. Now next you need to know that it is the important body which investigates into the corruption matters of the government employees in administration, along with that the severe nature of crimes that are happening in the country. It is having pan India level, we can say, powers. Central government's chief investigation body, we can say CBI. Special information that you need to know here, it is exempted from provisions of RTI Act 2005. Okay, it is exempted from the provisions of RTI Act. So it comes under the supervision of CVC, Central Vigilance Commission, in the matters related to Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. So corruption related matters, the CBI works under the supervision of CVC. Other matters it works under central government. Okay. Now the CBI director, who is the chief of CBI, is having the tenure of not less than 2 years, as this is fixed by Supreme Court under Narain case, Vinit Narain case. Okay. Now not less than term of 2 years. Now this CBI director is appointed. First it is selected through selection committee, and the names are further put before the appointments committee. Okay. So selection committee, the composition here is Central Vigilance Commissioner as the chairperson, then there are Vigilance Commissioners as members, Secretary to the Government of India in charge of Home Affairs Ministry, and then the Secretary, Coordination and Public Grievances in Cabinet Secretariat. These are the members of this selection committee. This selection committee scrutinizes the different proposals and later on give the list of appropriate members further to appointments committee. Now the appointments committee consists of 3 members, one Prime Minister of India as chairperson, then there is leader of opposition in Lok Sabha as member, and then Chief Justice of India or the Supreme Court judge recommended by Chief Justice of India as one of the member. This is appointments committee. Now all this information is important for prelims examination. Okay? Yes. Now lastly, some important, yes, one more news is there. It is talking about this arch bridge being constructed by Indian Railways. This is going to be the world's highest railway bridge. Okay. Length 1315 meter Chenab bridge, and at 359 meter above the river bed, the bridge would be 35 meter higher than Eiffel Tower in Paris. Now this is one of the part of Udhampur Srinagar Baramulla rail link project. Okay, and yes, it can withstand the high wind speeds up to 266 km per hour. You can see the photo here, the arch that is now completed. This was one of the critical part of this project. Okay, construction. This is important development, or we can say that good development in infrastructure development in Himalayan region. Fine. Okay. So as miscellaneous or additional information for prelims examination, you can understand this. Next, lastly, the important captions and quotations. Yes, education and health achievements are essential for reducing inequality of opportunity. Then in post-COVID-19 world, addressing inequality is important and for higher and economic growth and well-being of population. So these two are related to sustainable and inclusive economic growth. So there can be essay topic on these two. There can be question in GS3 paper. You can use this. Then yes, it is ironic that it has taken pandemic to acknowledge the significance of fair and equal access to Supreme Court or lack of thereof. Okay, so you can use this in polity paper, GS2 or even essay paper. Fine. So access, fair and equal access to Supreme Court, that we are doing. Okay. So yes, these were important articles from today's The Hindu newspaper. अगर ये आपको वीडियो पसंद आया हो तो आप ये लिंक आपके फ्रेंड्स के साथ शेयर कर सकते हो, साथ में वीडियो को लाइक कर सकते हो, एंड सब्सक्राइब टू आवर लुकमान आईएएस चैनल for further information on editorial discussion classes or ED classes wherein in-depth analysis of mains related issues and articles is done by Ansari sir and team. You can contact Lukman IAS. Thank you.